oceans deep, where secrets stir and shadows creep. With Tor and Tyson and Mike at the helm, we dive into an uncharted realm. We dive into an uncharted realm. Welcome to the FullGrownPizza podcast, where mysteries linger and questions are vast. From cryptids to secrets, the stories hold fast. Today we dive into the depths of the past. So gather round for the tales untold of sea bound beings and legends bold. This is the podcast where truth takes the stage, exploring the oceans and Meridian Bay.
All right, and welcome to the Full Grown Pizza Podcast. This is episode 30 this week. We were having some technical difficulties last week, so we weren't able to make it last week, but we are here, and things seem to be working okay, so we're going to move forward and hope everything works. Okay, so this week we're going to be talking about UFO disclosure. We're going to be talking about, what do we think the government really knows, and what are they going, what are they telling us? Are they telling us the truth, etc.? And Mike is going to be carrying us along on that. But before we get started, make sure to hit the like, follow, and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We try to go live every week around the same time, but sometimes things happen, so make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified when we do. Also follow us on Instagram. We do post some updates and shorts and stuff there occasionally as well, so make sure to follow us there. And also, we do have an affiliate link for Ugly Chews as well, if you guys want to check them out. It's all natural dog treats. It does support the channel. It is just an affiliate link. We also have a code for, I believe, free shipping as well. And you can find all that information in the description below. All right, so let's get started. Mike, go ahead.
All right, so because we just recently had those congressional hearings about disclosure and the reports they've been having lately, and we just wanted to talk about what the government does know and what they're actually going to tell us, because it seems like there's a lot more congressional hearings recently. We had another one last year with David Grush when he was being a whistleblower, saying that the black projects were spending money that they weren't supposed to be doing, and doing projects they weren't supposed to be doing. So I was wondering how much the government's actually ever going to come clean. I mean, it seems like a lot of people are more interested in the topic now. I mean, they had that big New York Times report about the UFOs a couple of years ago that really seemed to blow the doors off of everything. But I mean, how much do you think the government knows? Do you think they're covering up a bunch of stuff, or are they just ignorant of everything?
So with the congressional hearings that happened recently, I was watching a video on that, and in there's a clip. Can't remember the dude's name. It might have been Luis Elizondo or something. Yeah, a former Department of Defense official. And he was saying that this is his theory. I don't know if he's saying this as a fact or just his thought on, what takes place, but he thinks the reason why we get some information from the government, but not all the information from the government. Because don't you think it's kind of weird that they put out some stuff, but then It's like, why put out some stuff if you're not going to put out everything? Or why put out some stuff instead of nothing? And he thinks that the the reason behind that might be that the government is actually torn on this issue, and that there's a section of the governmental bodies that are involved with this that think it's really important for us to get the information out and to tell people and to inform the public and whatnot. But then there's also a section of the government that says, no, we shouldn't tell anybody about this. We shouldn't whatever. So it's kind of this tug of war struggle and like compromise between the two parties that have to decide, okay, well, we can put out this information, but let's not put out any of this information, So I wonder if it's always going to be like that, until something tips the tape, tips the scale in one direction or the other, right? Like if we get to a point where, the general public really needs to know or really should know something, then maybe
like UFOs appeared out of
right,
nowhere.
like exactly, like if UFOs started popping up everywhere and they're like actually maybe attacking somewhere or something, like you're gonna have to say something. Like nobody is going to
nothing to
there's
see here,
exactly, you can't just cover that up. So I would think at that point that other faction would say, okay, you know what, we're going to have to let up on a lot of this information and start informing people. Otherwise, we're going to not just be facing the aliens, but we're going to have some kind of revolt on our hands too,
Yeah. Another interesting perspective I heard about that is that like they're doing like reverse engineering and stuff. They can't really tell everybody that they got that information, because if they say they give like alien hardware to one company, then company B gives them a competitive advantage against company B because they're giving them that information, and then they can come back and sue the government saying, well, we went out of business because we didn't have this advantage that you gave this other company, and a lot of money and stuff would be wrapped up in that too.
Yeah, I mean that's true, because there's well, it goes back to the whole like crony capitalism kind of thing where or corporatism is
stuff like that.
Corporatism. It's like when the government picks favorites, and the government, like you've got congressmen and whatnot that are, or people that are like part of the FDA that then go to work for some pharmaceutical company afterwards after signing a bunch of signing off on a bunch of studies or something. Like it's like, there's a lot of corruption like that going on. And if the government is supplying companies with technology and information and whatnot, but not some companies, so they can join the board of these companies and stuff, like, that could be a real big problem. I think there is a lot of corruption there that needs to be kind of uprooted before we can expect real honesty and disclosure from the government about these kinds of things.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the government until now has kind of made, UFO be seem like something a crazy person would talk about, how they did with like Project Blue Book and stuff like that. How, I mean, basically the whole idea behind Project Blue Book was to make everything look ridiculous. Make all the people that talk about UFOs and all that stuff just look like crazy people that nobody wants to listen to. And that way they can get away with a lot more stuff, because nobody's gonna listen to that guy because he's talking about UFOs and that's just crazy talk. And then have you heard about this? I believe it's ATIP that recently did a report that said there was no evidence of UFOs or anything in any of their records that they could find. And
yeah, I did. I heard about that. Yeah, which is crazy because each member of the congressional hearings, like there was a clip. I wish I could have like found the actual clip, but I just saw it in somebody else's video. But the clip was basically a congressman said down. He just was like, "Okay, I'm going to go down the line, and I want you to tell me, like, do you believe that UAPs are real?" And UAPs are unidentified aerial phenomenon. Do you believe they're real? And what do you believe they are, if you do? And he went down the line, and every witness said yes, they believe UAPs are real, and they do believe that the government's hiding information about them from us. But they kind of disagreed on what they thought it was. Some people thought absolutely it's involves non-human intelligence, NHI, and other people thought, we just don't know. And then some people thought, well, it's there's no evidence that it's NHI, but we don't know. So it's like there's definitely something going on, and there's definitely something they're not telling us.
Yeah.
And like that is unequivocally true. I don't think you can really argue against that.
It's interesting
So
because a lot of the videos that come out are from the military, like that the go fast videos from a military jet,
right.
the gimbal footage is from a military jet. So is the Tic Tac incident that a lot of people talk about.
Well, and all
They have
this
some
stuff
video from
comes
that.
out like, way later usually too,
Yeah.
It's
They,
like Project Blue Book and stuff like that. It was around for how long was it around? I don't know, but it was
I think
around
it was
for a
like
long time before they
yeah,
finally
17
declassified it.
years.
Yeah. So it's like all this time you're saying there's nothing going on, but you knew for 17 years there was something going on.
Yeah.
And so I automatically don't trust you. I automatically don't
Yeah.
believe you
You've been lying for
because you've
17 years.
already
And
lied. Yeah, you already lied. So why would I trust you now?
yeah. And it's interesting. The guy that was actually in the scientist on Project Blue with Dr. Hynek, he was a skeptic at first, but actually, after all the evidence he saw, he turned into a UFO believer. And came out and said that he thinks UFOs are real and that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of evidence for that.
Yeah.
There could be some kind of conspiracy that the government is in cahoots with one of these alien organizations, and that's why they're covering up everything. That's why they don't want people to know about it, because they may be getting like secret information from them or trying to cover up an alliance with them or something like that. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like in a lot of our episodes, we've talked about similar things of where, the Men in Black is some kind of governing body over the alien species or some kind of interstellar police force or whatever that kind of connects everything together and tries to keep everything in check. And I feel like if you're going to have something like that, then yeah, they would have a vested interest in interacting with our government. They wouldn't interact with the general public. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
you can't do that. You need some kind of representative body to, account for everybody. So I think that, if there are aliens out there and they have traveled here and they are communicating with us, they absolutely would be talking to the government and not just, Joe Schmo
yeah.
down the
That meets at
street.
the mall or something,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
go for the.
Yeah.
But I
Actually, in response to the you were talking about that ATIP report, or whatever that came out. Part of the Let me just pull up my notes, but yeah, part of the congressional hearing was they talked about it was Michael Schellenberger. He talked about a um, program that he was informed about from a whistleblower who he said was a present or former um, operative, I guess, with what's the I guess Department of Defense and some other program within the Department of Defense that deals with this kinds of stuff. But he said there's a program called the Immaculate Constellation, and
I've
it's
heard of
a
that, but I don't really know what it is.
yeah. So essentially, it's a highly classified initiative within the DoD that's they deal with UAPs, so unidentified anomalous phenomenon, and they've got a whole bunch apparently of. Basically, they have a huge database, like a huge comprehensive database of UAP encounters, high resolution images and videos, not just like these crappy, blurry,
Yeah, yeah. I always get
terrible.
the copy
Like they've
looks.
got actual like high resolution images and videos and sensory data regarding these things. And apparently, this was established in the in 2017. The whistleblower, let's see, unacknowledged special. Oh yeah, that's right. It's a USAP. So he's claiming, the whistleblower is claiming that this is an unacknowledged special access program. So it's essentially a special access program within the Department of Defense that is unacknowledged. So it's not known. It's not something that they, that is known to Congress or anything like that. Um, but it's a special access program, so only certain people are able to, get access to it. And it was established in 2017 following the public disclosure of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which is ATIP. So, yeah, essentially, this whistleblower's just in there. He kind of talks about a couple different encounters and whatnot. I don't have a ton of info on those, but I thought it was interesting. Like, there's this guy who's coming out, and in the video that I watched on this congressional hearing, they were saying that one of the encounters they talked about, or one of the some of the data, is from 2023. So if this guy is a present or former, employee of the program or employee of the Department of Defense that's aware of this program, like, that was only last year. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a high likelihood that he's still around, and if he's not, why is he coming out now?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know,
interesting
interesting
stuff.
stuff.
But I don't think you can deny that the government is, keeping secrets on this kind of thing.
Yeah. I wonder how long they've been actually working together with somebody else to cover this up. Has it been since 47 when Roswell crashed, or is it before that? Because David Grush said that he had evidence of UFO recovery programs back in like the 20s and before that, like over 100 years old, that are
Yeah,
kind of like that Aurora crash that we talked about that one time,
it makes me wonder that this has been going on for a long, long time. It's just when Roswell came around, that's when, communication was at a different level. There were news reports and stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
People were more aware of it, and people could speak their mind to more people. It wasn't just you and your little town or you and your little village or whatever, but there's a lot more out there. The word gets spread much quicker and much more spread out across the country. So I think at that point, the government has to, okay, the game has changed a little bit now. We can't just, keep everything hush hush on the down low like it's been. Like, we need to kind of give them a little bit of taste of something to, satisfy people at least. Otherwise, we're going to have, a revolt essentially, right?
Yeah.
If people start digging and they keep digging into stuff and you don't give them some crumbs to satisfy them, they're going to get frustrated and angry, and they're going to feel lied to, and they're going to feel, that kind of tyrannical force.
Yeah,
Like
if
the
you
government.
give them that little lie, then you could do much more stuff that they won't really ask anymore, because you gave them a little bit of information that they can take and
Right, and
go home with. But
it's much better to control the information than just to keep it from people, right? Because you can give
yeah,
somebody, you can give somebody misinformation, or you can give somebody like a little breadcrumb, but you don't give them that, that points them in
everything.
the wrong direction, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like the government is incentivized to say something, but they don't know what to say and they don't know how to say it. And so you've got these two bodies in, these two schools of thought inside the government that are like, you know what, if we just tell everybody the truth, then it's going to be a lot easier on us. And you got other people that are like, well, we can't, because we worry about the response and the blowback and the reaction and all that stuff. And so they're torn between, okay, how do we handle this issue? You know,
yeah. I mean, it's a big issue. I mean, how do you think society would react if they did come out and aliens are real? We've been working with them for like 20 years or whatever. I mean,
honestly,
We're doing that right now. Society doesn't give a shit.
that's what I was
Like,
gonna say.
whatever.
That's what I was gonna say. It feels like right now no one cares,
I know.
because
Just
you look at this, the recent UFO congressional stuff. I mean, look, I like UFO stuff. I didn't
yeah.
look into this shit, like I didn't watch the whole hearings. Like, I didn't, whatever. I mean, I did some research on it.
Yeah,
That's all I heard about.
Yeah, I did some research on
Makes
it,
me
but
think of like fucking the paper mache aliens from New Mexico, and they're like, or Mexico, and they're like, "Hey guys, we found aliens. Check these out." And they're like, "No."
I think we are reaching a point, almost like an idiocracy level point in our society, where we're more concerned with memes and things like that than we are, actual stuff. I mean, when the whole paper
Yeah.
mache Mexican alien thing came out, like that was sure, that was funny. That was funny, and the memes were good about that. But it's things like that where the first thing that comes out about that, the first thing that you see about that kind of thing is usually a meme. You're not seeing the headlines of like what they actually discussed and what they actually talked about. You're seeing the jokes, you're seeing the humor, so you can already see that society doesn't take this stuff seriously, and
Yeah.
we're not really that serious of a society in that regard anyways. And I think
Yeah.
it's the same with the congressional stuff. I mean, nobody
It's like
cares.
memes are just like basically little band-aids that people put on. They're like, you gotta handle this shit.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a meme without this and make myself feel better about it.
Yep.
But like going back to like how Roswell was going around and you're talking about the information and stuff, how it was hard to keep it down. It's like wondering like which each leap in technology and information, it seems like more alien stuff starts coming up, and it's like, it's like there's the telephone and the mass produced like news media,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to the internet, and now you have fucking people. Everybody has a phone is fucking a news outlet now,
Yeah.
and it's just like
It
with each
makes
like advance in communication, they have to fucking scramble to like feed us the crumb, and they're like
well,
ocean,
as
like
communication
yeah,
technology advances, you have to advance the communication concealment technology, and it's like,
yeah,
well, unless you're directly involved in each industry and each company and stuff, which the government is not supposed to do,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have a really hard time with that. You can't directly
you know
control
what's
everything.
bad when the White House is putting out memes and TikTok videos on the platform that they're trying to fucking get shut down. Like I remember
Yeah.
like a politician who was running was or putting memes out or TikToks out, and just like really,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
how desperate we are, is to put TikToks out
It's
on something that you fucking like demonized the whole fucking 4 years.
well, but then it makes me wonder because we were talking. You mentioned how we were discovering more and all that with communication stuff. It makes me wonder, has this level of alien activity always been the case? It's not actually increasing. We're just actually discovering it more and we're able to talk about
That's
it
what, yeah.
more.
That's what we're
Or,
saying. Is like with the advancement of the telephone and like mass news like producing out, is when people actually started getting the more information. They're like,
right.
oh, this is happening there too, and then people start making the connections,
Yeah.
and it's basically like the same thing with like how like a big boost of like symptoms of ADHD started evolving because people are just like, oh, this is happening with me too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is all related,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, so it begs the question of, is it happening more or are we just discovering it more? Are we just
Yeah.
Paying attention
learning
to
more
it
about
more.
it? Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that is kind of a big uh,
I think that
factor.
like in
It's
the
a big
1940s
factor in
there
a
was
lot of
like a
things.
mass like, transition to Earth from the ocean aliens.
Hmm.
There's a mass fucking migration to Earth in the 40s.
Yeah,
That's
right,
why
exactly.
all the UFOs were seen in the 40s.
Yep, they all moved to land. Yeah.
No, they didn't know where the ocean is. Like, which way to the ocean?
Yeah. Like, oh, it's not just like,
You are
60% of the
way.
freaking planet. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, we totally missed.
Yeah.
We had a 40% chance of missing. We fucked up.
Yeah. Oh man, I saw it was a comment in one of the videos on the congressional hearing stuff that I saw, and they were basically saying like, if these aliens are so advanced, why do they keep crashing, on our planet? And I just wanted to be like, what are you talking about, bro? Like that has nothing to do with it. First of all, You have no idea how many crashes there are. You have no idea how many times they visit. You have no idea like how regular of this occurrence is.
Go
So
check, see how
somebody,
many car crashes happened in your state that week,
right?
buddy.
Exactly. Yeah. You think we're intelligent? Yeah. Think about how we crash our cars all the freaking time. And somebody replied in the comments. I thought it was perfect. They were like, "This is like a monkey saying, look at these humans. They're so smart, but they still need seatbelts for their cars. How stupid." It's like, what are you like? What are you talking about? Yeah, the vast majority of people are able to drive cars without crashing, but there's still crashes, and people are
Yeah.
driving all the
It
freaking
happens, man.
time. Stuff
Tires
happens.
blow out. Shit falls in the road. Fucking
Yeah.
somebody's not paying attention. They get sideswiped. Shit happens.
Um, Another thing, gosh, I don't have the guy's name in my notes, and I might have to try and see if we can do a full episode on this because it was blowing my mind when they were talking about it. But the congressional hearings, they mentioned an engineer who is a naval engineer, and he, I guess, recently filed for a whole bunch of patents that are just like crazy, insane technological advancements that, I mean, you can file for a patent without having a working, functioning, model of it, right? You don't
Yeah,
need
just do the concept,
the
right?
technology doesn't need to work for you to patent it. And so, but anyways, this naval engineer, he's filed for a whole bunch of patents, one of which is warp like travel. And essentially, the way they do it is because, there's essentially like nothing, no physical matter or whatever can travel faster than the speed of light. Like that's the theory, supposedly. But what can happen is space, like empty space, can travel faster than the speed of light. So what essentially what the theory is, or what the concept is behind this patent, is that you create like a warp bubble of some sort, and the bubble can travel faster than the speed of light, and you
Mm-hmm.
put the ship inside the bubble. So it's like the ship can travel faster than the speed of light as it's contained in the bubble, because the it's like when you're in the car, right? I'm not physically moving 70 miles an hour on the freeway, but my car is. And so it's kind of a similar concept of, or think about it like this, with like a fly. If there's a bug in your car flying around, I mean, the bug itself is not going 70 miles an hour, but it's still able to fly around and be like a normal bug, right? Um, and so it's kind of
Humans on Earth
right, humans
spinning.
on Earth, the planet spinning, right?
We're
So
spinning here, but we're going like
so the idea is that you
Like,
create this warp bubble, and that bubble can travel faster than the speed of light, and
yeah.
it can take take ships with it. And so
That's what they always
anyways,
said is like the idea is not to travel faster than the speed of light. The idea is just to fold
yeah, you fold
space
space.
in on itself and travel between the folds.
Right. And that would be more like a wormhole kind of thing, where you fold it together, you cut a hole in it like a piece of paper, right? If you fold paper, you cut a
Mm-hmm.
hole, then there's a hole on both sides. And but anyways, apparently the naval engineer also just got backing from the Pentagon saying that, yeah, this is legit. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't independently verified that stuff, but that's what I was hearing based on the congressional hearings and based on the clips and the videos that I watched on it. And I'm gonna have to look more into this engineer guy, because
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. If
Yeah.
this guy's like getting technology out there, and you think about things like that, I mean, if there's more technology in that similar kind of vein, and the government is actually saying that, yeah, no, this is legit, that's pretty wild. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking next tier technology tree. Like, that's
Yeah.
gonna be life changing for people.
Once we get fucking like teleportation down, fucking solid gold, we're going.
Then we can have Hearthstone, so we can just teleport back to our house. Yep.
Be super rare and expensive. Like,
Yeah.
or every fucking end's gonna hand you one.
Yep.
Sometimes 3 of them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ends will start popping back
But,
up again, but they'll be
the thing that's weird for me is this whole patent thing. That's fucking weird. So if I came out and said, "Hey, I want to patent the fucking floor mat teleportation thing, where one teleportation pad goes to another teleportation pad," but I'm not going to work on it. I just patent it, and if anybody creates it, I'm like, "That's mine."
Well, you still have to patent the technology and the process and everything. Like, you have to patent how it's going to work, but whether it works or not doesn't matter, right?
Just write some science fiction bullshit.
Yeah, like if you create a whole bunch, I mean, if you patent some technology and you explain how it works and everything and whatnot, and then you just happen to be right one day and you still have the patent, then I guess that's how,
You get a patent by a theory.
I guess, but
what if you did that? What if you like made the fucking teleportation pad and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking look what I made." And they're like, somebody already patented that. And it's like, what? I just invented this technology. Well, this person got really close to it. We're gonna say that
this person was really close.
They have the patent on it. And
yeah,
just like,
but they never actually tried. It never actually. I don't see. That's the thing, though. When it goes to like defending the patent or whatever in court, I don't know how effective your defense would be if you just were like, "Yeah, I created this a decade ago, and I just thought, I just thought about it, but I never actually worked on it."
You showed me your working model.
Yeah.
We never actually worked on it.
Yeah.
We just guessed.
Yeah, we just guessed. We just thought it was a cool idea, but whatever.
I'm a science fiction writer, and I just do a whole bunch of patents based on my technologies I read in my fucking science books.
It's like,
just in case.
Yeah, it's like going for the lottery. He's just like, all right, I'm going to patent this, and I'm going to patent this, and patent this, and I hope that one day somebody figures it out. Yeah.
Yeah, 354 patents, and none of them are actually real. No technology for any of them. But this one got right. It's like, I'm going to get rich off of it.
He's like, man, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on these patents and everything. I hope one day one of these pays off.
But expensive lottery ticket.
Yeah, so I think that I'm going to have to look more into that specific engineer and whatnot, because there's been, I guess, stuff coming out about that guy. But, I thought that was really interesting, too, and how the government's kind of, vouching for him. That also goes to show that, he must have gotten that information somehow, or he must have gotten tipped off by something, or something inspired him or whatever, I highly doubt he's just a science fiction fan that just happened to come up with a good patent. So, but
never know.
You never know.
You do the research and he is.
He's like, no, I just really like science fiction
writer.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I was gonna go with the religion route, but that was already done, so I just decided to start patents. Scientologist.
I think another interesting thing, and I think Mike was talking about this too earlier, was that there's kind of a stigma surrounding, UFOs and UAPs and all that stuff, and people kind of brush it off as, oh, you're just crazy or whatever. But and we've talked about this in other episodes, like Bigfoot and whatnot, where I almost feel like if the stigma wasn't there, do you think the government would be more open about it? If the stigma wasn't there, do you think we would be more openly investigating this kind of thing? Because it seems like it's very fringe. I mean, people that are investigating this stuff that aren't part of the government are very fringe and seen as kind of like weirdos and stuff. But then the people that are investigating this, they're part of the government, have to be super secretive and undisclosed and unacknowledged and all this stuff. So it's like, if the stigma wasn't there, if people didn't think that this was crazy science fiction talk, do you think that the government would be more open about this kind of stuff? Or do you think they'd still keep it from people?
Yeah, I know, because the government kind of created that stigma on the UFO kind of thing, right? Because that way they can hide their stuff a lot easier. When everybody that talks about it is crazy, you don't have to listen to that person anymore. So they actually, like they try to do with what's his name, Lazar, who came out of Area 51 and was talking about how they're doing back engineering. I mean, they try to make that
Yep.
guy look crazy. They fired him and hit all his records, so it looked like he never worked
But
there.
but is that them using the stigma against him, or is that them
That's
creating
why
the
they created
stigma?
the stigma in the first place.
How do you think they created the stigma?
Well, like that Project Blue Book, where they took every incident they found and basically made it look like the guys were idiots and didn't know what they're talking about. And then, even if it was actual UFO encounter, they still made them look stupid. And
But didn't people already think that UFO encounters were like fiction and fake?
I mean,
people already thought that back then.
I mean, they weren't real known, so how could they? I mean,
Right.
It's hard to believe that you actually saw a UFO.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's
I guess technically it is a stigma.
So I feel like
how could you believe that guy talked about a UFO that he saw?
Because it seems to me like
you've never seen it.
Yeah, they fed the beast, but they didn't necessarily create the beast. Like,
no, I mean, it's a natural instinct to not believe something that you can't see yourself.
Right.
I mean, that's basically how it goes. So they feed the beast. They made it even worse by making these people crazy, or like, this guy keeps seeing UFOs, put him in an institution, he's crazy. There's no such thing as UFOs. So they made it worse. And I think they keep that's a big thing. Why they say they from changing from UFO to UAP is so they get that stigma out there, so people will be more forthcoming about their encounters. Because it seems like some of the government wants to know more about this stuff, while other part of the government is like covering it all up as much as they can. So that's why they did the whole like whistleblower program for UFOs and stuff like that, and why a lot of these congressional hearings are happening now is because they got better whistleblower coverage for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like you were saying, there's two different thoughts in the government. That some people want this stuff to come out, and other people want to cover it up. So, a lot of the people that want to cover up are getting some kind of benefit from that.
So, what do you think it would take for the group of people that want to tell the truth? What do you think it would take for that side to win over in the government, and the government to just be straight up and honest with us? Like, what would it take for the government to have that shift?
Big bunch of UFOs just showing up all over the place and laying on everybody's lawn and coming out and saying hi to everybody.
So you don't think that it
can't cover up anymore?
You think it would have to come to a point where they just can't hide it anymore?
Yeah, unless we get somebody in government that's going to open up all the files, like what's his name? So, he's saying he's going to open up the files on RFK and or JFK.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But then again, it's like, okay, even if you say you're going to open up the UFO and UAP files, are they going to let you? Are they going to show you everything? I mean, look, the president comes and goes every 4 to 8 years. So it's like, these government programs last decades. So why do they need to tell the president anything? They're going to be around way longer than the president is. So why would they?
Why would hidden projects? So why would they come out in the light?
Right. These are unelected, bureaucratic, governmental programs that have been in existence that are self-sustaining. Half the government doesn't even know about them.
Yeah.
And
do you think Elon Musk's thing, whether he's going to go through the government and look at all the spitting, do you think he'll discover anything like that?
I don't think so, because I don't think if I remember correctly, I heard this from somewhere. I don't know if it's true, but it made sense to me that there are certain things like the Department of Government Efficiency, which is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be doing, that isn't technically like a governmental body. It's like it's almost like a third party thing, kind of, or like that's connected to the government. So I don't think their tentacles like really reach that far into the government, as far as these unelected, or undisclosed programs and whatnot. However, it will be interesting to see, because they are in the business of managing the budget and managing the government expenses, and if you've got a whole bunch of money that just you don't know where it's going, it's just like disappearing somewhere, then that money is probably the money that's going to these unacknowledged, programs. And
Yeah,
I
they'll
wonder
follow the
how that's
trail
going to
right
be
back.
impacted. Yeah. Or if the people that manage the finances currently are able to, shove that under the rug, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know how it works, how it's going to work out, but it would be interesting to find out if, as they start chopping expenses and stuff, they start, there's some blowback from these unacknowledged agencies because they have to expose themselves now if they want their
Yeah,
funding.
be
Yeah, it would be
interesting to see what
interesting.
he discovers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's his goal, though. I mean, um, but that would be cool. That would be really
Yeah,
cool.
it'll be cool.
It
I mean, there's
also,
only so much money to go around. If you follow it all everywhere it goes, then you're gonna find stuff that you're not expecting to find.
yeah, you'll find something, and whenever there's a whole bunch of people involved in something, it's a lot easier for one person to slip up.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be interesting to see how things develop with that. Um, it does make me wonder, though, like, isn't it amazing how Elon Musk can come around and have freaking uh, SpaceX and whatnot, and he can launch a rocket into space and like have it come back down and land in a freaking tower and have everything be great. Like he can do all these amazing things with rockets and whatnot. And then you look at NASA, which hasn't done anything notable since the freaking moon landing, or at least anything cool. And it makes me wonder if like was NASA suppressed? Like is NASA not supposed to be doing things? Or are they just that incompetent like, a lot of other governmental bodies, I don't know.
yeah. You got a
Cuz
lot of bureaucracy and stuff like that, so it's hard to get stuff done with that.
right,
It's like a
right.
difference between like a state hospital and a private hospital
Yep.
funding. Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And if you have like $1 million compared to $1 billion,
Well,
I mean,
incentive structures and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you got freaking, look at the post office versus FedEx or USPS. Like the post office is garbage and trash and it's terrible and it loses billions of dollars every year and they're worse quality, worse everything. And then you've got the private sector version of that, which is significantly better because they've actually got incentives to be better. But the freaking post office has no incentives to be better. Like they're a governmental agency that has an allocated amount of money that they get no matter what
Yeah,
and from the tax body, and that's it. And there's no incentive to be good or be better or do better or change things or improve things or whatever. And it's probably the same thing with NASA and the same thing with all this stuff. There's no incentive. And then you've got somebody who started a business and they've got an incentive because they've got all this risk that they just put into starting this business. And then it better go well. Otherwise, they're millions of dollars down the drain, you know?
yeah,
So, um, I think it's cool that we're getting like someone like Elon Musk involved in this kind of thing. And I do wonder like how things progress with Elon Musk. And it makes me think too that if there are aliens here and they have communicated with the government and whatnot, like, don't you think they would want to talk to Elon Musk? Like, Elon Musk is the guy. I
I
mean, he's
remember
the.
that he said he was an alien. Remember he posted
Eh,
that he was an alien.
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe he is an alien. Maybe he's the.
Hey, he's
Maybe
a little
he's the
strange, so.
intermediary figure
that's
that
what
is going to
that's what
connect
needs to
us all.
happen is an alien or a couple aliens need to go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
that would be awesome. Elon Musk would bring on a couple alien friends, and they would
Yeah.
talk, and
Like, oh, so you believe in dragons?
that's how you do it. Yes,
That's
Joe,
a
the
joke.
dragon believer, Rogan. I love that so much. I thought that was so funny, dude. Oh, no, I think that would be interesting. I think honestly in today's day and age, that's probably the best way to do it. If you're an alien
Yeah,
species and you want to introduce yourself to the public and you don't want, to be aggressive or anything like that, the best thing to do is probably to go on Joe Rogan. to be honest.
Just come and introduce yourself, you know?
You're not going to do a press conference with the freaking president. You're not going to do anything like that. You're going to go on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I mean, you'll get more covers that way. So, I mean, what was it? They got like 10 million people on CNN, and he gets like 300.
Yeah, no one watches
They're
freaking...
kind of done with that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, that's what's so wild. I don't know if you guys saw, but like, you know, and this isn't the political podcast or anything, but that MSNBC and CNN, they freaking they're separating. Well, MSNBC is separating off into its own company. It's no longer going to be owned by Comcast or anything anymore, because
there's a running joke that Elon Musk is going to buy him.
Yeah. I saw that too. Yeah, it just goes to show that, like, yeah, people don't care as much about the news nowadays. You know, they care about the memes, they care about the jokes, they care about the social media, the humor, they care about the headlines.
TikTok and Twitter.
Exactly. They care about the short form content and the headlines and things like that.
Yeah.
But that also explains why there's such a big market for someone like Joe Rogan, because he is the opposite of that, you know? He is like, okay, everybody likes the short form, I'm going to give them the long form. And he's the polar opposite, instead of the news media, which is like a mix between the two, and it's just terrible. So it's what nobody wants. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that it also makes me wonder, and this is just a theory I just came up with, but maybe getting Elon Musk involved in the government was a plan, you know, by the aliens. They were like, we need to get him involved eventually so we can start conversations with him, because he's the guy that we really need to talk to about your guys' space travel capabilities, not NASA. And, you know, we need to start talking to these people rather than the government. So, but we've already have the communication established with the government. So, you know, how about you just bring them into the government so we keep it all together? And yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting how they keep covering it up, and they'll release a little bit at a time and give us a little bit of tidbits, and just come out and say it. I mean, just come out and say whatever you know. I mean,
it's like an episode of fucking like what was that one show Dad likes to watch, or Hunting Hitler or something like that, where they just give a little tiny bit at the end just to keep you coming back for the next season or something.
Dude, yeah, that would be kind of wild if they just came out with like a docu-series that explaining all this stuff on Netflix that's supposedly factually correct. It's all government information. It's all declassified. Everything's truthful, whatever. And they just release it as a series, a docu-series on Netflix that comes out season by season, just explaining everything. That might be the best way to do it, honestly. You know, if you're gonna,
a lot of people won't even believe it. So.
Yeah,
like a joke, like, hey, do you want to watch this whole entire fucking committee meeting? Like, no, not really.
Yeah.
What about a mini series of the committee meeting, and it'd be like 20-minute intervals? Oh,
they're like,
okay.
yeah. No, but that's. Yeah. I think honestly, like, if you come out and you do like some kind of hearing, like the congressional hearings, no one's gonna give a shit. You do a series, a docu-series, more people are gonna believe that than they're gonna believe the hearing stuff, because they're not going to pay attention to the hearing stuff. They're not going to know anything about it. They're not going to care. But somebody watches, you know, Finding Hitler, they're going to think that, you know, Hitler's out there and he's still alive, right? You're going to have some portion of the audience that's going to believe that. And so I think it would be a more effective strategy if you're actually genuinely trying to inform the public with real government information, and you're trying to expose everything for, you know, once and for all, and the government's actually giving us the info. The best way to do it would be to create a docu-series kind of thing. And what's funny is I think Tom DeLonge, or however you pronounce his last name, the Blink-182 guy, singer, That's his whole company. Like that's his whole. He's got a whole freaking startup company called To the Stars. That's all about that. It's all about exposing people to government technology and government information through entertainment. And so many people thought it was so ridiculous and would laugh about it. And they're like, "This is, you know, this is the dumbest idea ever." But I think honestly nowadays, like that's the path forward. If you
Yeah.
actually want to inform people, you have to entertain them first. You've got to get them interested first. You can't just do a freaking, hearing.
You know what? I feel like if we could go back in time, you and I, we should, when we're at school, we should switch to video editing and work on machinima so we can make like fucking like World of Warcraft explains fucking government fucking policies or whatever.
More
Just making,
people
like,
would
little-
pay attention to that than freaking, some lecture series in a freaking, university.
I mean, we could have like the fucking make Azeroth great again fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Oh man,
yeah.
that would be.
The
I mean,
start
that's
over
how to
again.
do it. Yeah, that's how to do it for sure.
Because you don't have to start over. You just do it. I mean,
Yeah. Yep,
there's
that's
not like
true.
a limit to everything.
Yep, that's true. All right, well, we're getting close to the 1 hour mark. Do you guys
Yeah,
want to talk about anything else, or anything you want to wrap up?
But I'm just wondering how much of this stuff that we're seeing is somebody else's tech, and how scary could that be if China has this kind of technology and this is the only way we're finding out about it. Is like, I mean, I don't. You guys know about the Tic Tac and how fast it was and how it could stealth itself and they couldn't see it in front of them and couldn't pick it up on radar. And
Yeah.
what if this is somebody else's technology and how scary would that be?
I think that'd be really scary, but I also think if it was somebody else's technology, then the United States wouldn't be the most powerful, country in the world,
Where do
Exactly.
you think the bullet train comes from?
So it just right, but the fact is that the United States is the most powerful country in the world. Like China's economy is completely dependent upon us and, everybody else. So it's like
Yeah.
because they manufacture everything for us. And so it's like if they could actually do like freaking stealth tic tac, whatever, I feel like they could extrapolate that technology into something more valuable that would make their economy more sturdy and secure, and
True.
they wouldn't be as weak and feeble
Dependent.
as they are.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So does that
That's
point
why
more to it being alien technology than another
I think
country?
I think it does that, or it's
Or is it our own technology?
it could be our
Yeah.
own technology, because again, it goes back to those unacknowledged, programs that, just because your test craft, your test tic tac thing got caught by the Air Force or the Navy or something, you can't just blow the cover on the whole operation. You can't just start telling people that, oh yeah, don't worry about it, guys. That's us. You can't tell them that.
It is also it's interesting that a lot of these things happen around military operations, around military bases and military training programs and stuff
Well,
like that. So
that's the best place
if you
to
want to
test it.
test your equipment out, you're gonna go up against the best with the best equipment and see what you
Yep.
can get away with. So
Exactly. Yep.
that's another interesting aspect of it.
Testing their stuff in isolated areas too. So it's just like, hey, I'm here also in that isolated area testing my shit. It's not
Yep.
because someone else is there. It's like
Yeah.
that in real life. Like when you're like want to isolate yourself and you go to like your favorite isolation spot and there's somebody else there. It's like,
We're
why
like,
are you here?
What the heck?
What
Yeah.
are the chances that someone else would be here when I'm here?
I know
It's
exactly.
just
Yeah.
like,
It's
why
like
are
when
you
you've
here
got
testing my
right. You go
jets?
you go on a hike and there's like a really great view or something, and you're like, oh yeah, oh wait, there's somebody else here. Like somebody else found their good view. Yeah, it's the same thing. So
No,
You really get the view and you're relaxing.
I
And
think
you hear
it's an
somebody
interesting
walking up the path.
subject.
yeah, that's for sure. Yep, definitely. And I don't know, man. I wonder if we'll really truly know anything, or if we'll really have that many more
Yeah.
answers in our lifetime. Who
I don't know. It
knows?
seems like they're steadily
They're starting to
disclosing a
open
little
up
bit
more. And it's a
I don't
lot
know if
of
we'll get the full picture anytime
the other thing.
soon.
The other thing that makes me wonder too about that is we're increasingly in a society where there's like this concept of going viral, right? So
Yeah.
there is much more of an incentive for people to be whistleblowers about things because there is an increased chance of you going viral, and your virality can now sell products like a book
Yeah, you can
or
make
a
a lot of money off of
show
it,
or something, right? So you do see, at least from my perspective, I feel like you see a lot more whistleblowers coming out about things in more recent times than you would, say, 100, 200 years ago, right? Not just because we've got more widespread communication, but also because there's an incentive to actually come out and expose things because you can be the guy that exposed them, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
So as that increases, we're likely to see more and more whistleblowers coming about things, and who knows, maybe we'll reach a breaking point where the government's just like, okay, you know what? So much has been whistleblown that we're just going to tell you the rest. We're just giving you, at this point, it's causing more damage than good to try and keep the specifics a secret. So we're just going to let you guys know. And hopefully they come out with a docuseries. Otherwise, none of us are going to pay attention or care. So,
or TikTok.
Yep. Yeah. I need a series of TikTok videos explaining it. All right, guys.
That one movie that was popular last year, the one with the nuclear bomb.
Yep.
Like a 3-hour movie explaining it.
I know.
A 3-hour movie
crazy?
with Benedict Cumberbatch, please, to explain this to me.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Make sure he says penguin in it, too.
All right, guys. I think we will wrap up the episode there, unless there's anything else you guys want to...
What you guys think in the comments, what you guys think about disclosure, and will the government ever really disclose everything?
Yeah,
what do you guys think's going on?
What do you think they're hiding? To what degree? When are they going to expose more information? Are they going to expose more info? Tell us everything you guys think about this topic, because it really is such a broad topic that kind of can go down so many different paths. And also, would you watch a docuseries with Benedict Cumberbatch?
What's your best way to
explaining all this stuff? Yeah, like what would it take for you to actually believe the information the government's saying?
Oh, I know what it is. It'd be AI reading the documents over train runner. Train runner video.
Yep, that'll do it.
It's true, because there's like actual AI sites that do that now. Take a PDF and read it to you and play a fucking train runner video so you can fucking watch it like a fucking
all
TikTok.
Of our attention spans and ADHD and all that stuff, it's like a necessary thing nowadays, it seems like. Yep. It's more and more going to be that way. Dude, okay, that's hold on. That's the last thing I want to say. Do you think that like media and entertainment is going to change because of that? Like, we have shows and movies and stuff like that are like, a drawn out, intricate plot and whatnot. But then you got to think, like, within the past 10 years or so, there's been all these kids cartoons that are much more random and crazy and weird and abstract and not as, it's not so much following like a cohesive plot as it is just like random craziness popping up and doing something silly, right? Like, do you think that is going to change the way we interpret media? Like, are we going to start having, instead of having like a TV series like Supernatural, now we're just going to have some kind of like compilation of short TikTok clips of like weird guys hunting down monsters? Like, is that going to be a new show or something?
That was all the social media. We're almost training ourselves to do.
Right.
Scooby-Doo?
No, because Scooby-Doo
did that. It was just random events.
No, but each episode had a storyline. It was still like a 30-minute episode. You know,
20 minutes.
I'm talking like 1 minute or 5-minute episodes along
Like
a
the Bluey
freaking
minisodes.
yeah, something like that. Like, is media going to change? Is it going to start shifting more in that direction?
Some shows are doing that. They're like making minisodes so they can put them on TikToks and whatnot, and YouTube Shorts and things like that.
Yeah, I think we're training ourselves to do that.
Is getting lower and lower.
But then you got Joe Rogan who does 3-hour interviews, and everybody likes that too. So I mean, it's going to be different.
Right, and you're right. That's the argument: is that the pendulum always swings the other direction, right? Like
I think he's trying
we're
to
going so far.
Bring it on the show to 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're going so far in the short form, way that the pendulum might swing back into the Joe Rogan way,
Yeah.
And
I mean, you got so many different people. I don't think you can have just one way anyway. You're just going to have people who like the long form, and you're going to have people who like the short form, and so you got to do both.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a podcast that has to like at least more than an hour. Like, there's anything shorter than that. We're basically what people listen to while they're driving somewhere, and they're fucking If you're only like having like a 10-minute drive, you're just going to listen to like radio. But if you have like an hour commute, you're going to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on the situation, what you're listening to. So I mean, if you just want like a quick dopamine hit, you're going to watch shorts. But if you want to listen to something that's going to be long and interesting, you're going to listen to like Joe Rogan or longer form podcast. So.
Yeah, like the Full-Grown Pizza podcast.
Shorts while you're driving a car.
Yeah, don't do that.
On the road.
I mean, with the new AI cars, you can, they're driving for you and stuff like that. So.
Still focus on the road. Still do that.
Keep your hands on the steering wheel. So.
Yeah. Don't sleep either.
Don't put your faith in AI fully, guys.
Yeah.
You ever heard that story about the guy who sued Winnebago because he put auto drive on and took a nap in the back and it crashed?
Yeah.
Like, you told me I could drive. It's going to drive by itself.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot more of that before we actually get it all pinned down.
Oh, for sure. That's there's always going to be things like that. Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up there. That is the end of this week's episode on UFO disclosure. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to hit the like, follow, and subscribe button and share it with your friends and your family and your unacknowledged government officials.
Tell us when you listen to us. Do you listen to us or do you watch us?
Oh, that's a good point, too.
I understand if you're listening
do you listen to the podcast? Do you watch the podcast? Yeah. This episode, we didn't have really any visuals or anything.
Of us?
Yeah, we've got a podcast playlist on YouTube. I don't know if it still shows audio or if it still shows video or not, but there's a podcast version of this on YouTube, apparently. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we will be back next week, and I believe Tor is going to be leading that one, so...
Come on, talk monster.
Yep, let us know. All right, let us know what you guys think about today's episode, and we will see you again next time.
Story of brothers from the Philadelphia Project that Tyson wanted to hear about.
Ooh. That sounds good. All right, exciting stuff. Tune in next time.